Hey everybody, on today's episode I am recording with one of our OG Prostaff guys, Brant David. He's from down in South Louisiana where I'm from. That's what our episode's going to be about today. I'm going to bring him in, we're going to talk. He's actually going to be driving, so it may pick up a little road noise. He's headed, I think, over to West Louisiana to pick up something. I think he's on a honeydew run, and we're just throwing in some time to do a podcast together. We're going to talk about he's part of the DFO planned trip in October. We'll be going to North Louisiana to bow hunt. Then we're putting a group together for 2026 that we already started putting in for our preference points. We're going to try and draw Kansas in 2026. So it'd be basically like our third year. So this year and then next year do points. The following year apply for tags. So he's actually been in hunting Kansas in the area we're going to hunt. And so he knows a little bit about it, and he's going to talk about that. We're going to just bullshit. It's a little bullshitting about the planned trip and a few things, and y'all actually will get to know, like I said, one of our OG Prostaff guys, and he should be starting to come on and do way more podcasts with us. He's been, he got his house. They got their house built. Two little kids. I'll get him to explain all, where he's at and what he's got going on when he gets on, and we get started here shortly. So just want to give you an overview of what today's episode is going to be. Thanks. Hey, Brant, you there with us?
Yes, sir.
So, let's see, guys, this is Brant David. He's one of our OG Prostaff guys, like I was saying in the introduction of what the episode is going to be about earlier. So, he's here on the line with us. So we're going to, give me a second, I might move some stuff around. It might make a little noise. That way I know for sure I'm getting it recorded, getting a good sound. So... You there, Brant?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
All right. Why don't you tell everybody who you are and a little bit about yourself?
All right, JR. Yeah, so my name's Brant David, like JR was saying. I've been living in South Louisiana my whole life, hunting and fishing down there. What really turned me on to hunting was when I was a kid, ever since I could walk, my dad took me to the hunting camp in Mississippi, and just growing memories from there. I've just had a passion for the sport, and just excited to see what happens with delta flaws and everything. And, just fishing wise, my dad really wasn't a big fisherman, but as far as the hunting aspect, I've gotten everything. Most of my hunting knowledge, before my high school days, that all came from him. So.
All right. So what do you do? Tell what is your what is your normal?
Yeah, so,
let's tell That way, when they know when I go to making fun of you or you make jokes about, they know what we're talking about here.
Well, so yeah, I'm one of the DFO members that is in healthcare. Of course, I'm a registered nurse. Been a registered nurse for about 8 years now. I've worked with the same company. I can't really describe the only jobs I've done, but of course, I've done critical care and worked some ER stuff. Right now, I got to do some surgery things. I actually changed jobs a couple of years ago just to have a better schedule with the family life. I have 2 kids now. They're both one's right at 3 years old. She just turned 3, and then my son is 6 months old, and my wife. So, yeah, just changing up my roles as a nurse throughout my career has just kind of been more beneficial for my family. So, just among other things, I do like sports and stuff like that. I have a passion for college baseball and college football, much like a lot of the other Southern guys that are down here. But, of course, I mentioned fishing. And not really a golfer. I like to golf, but I'm not good at it. So it's more like chasing balls around on a golf course.
Even though you're an LSU fan, we still allow you to hang out with us.
Yeah, no. I mean, I like pretty much all college sports. I mean, being from Louisiana, LSU's always been something I've always had something to do and look up to and go watch and everything. But I'm always up for watching, good baseball, good football, no matter who's on the field.
As you were saying a while ago, you're one of our, guys. One of our other guys, Ty, is also in. He's a nurse, and the guys give me shit about having to have 2 nurses as pro staff members because I'm so accident prone. So that was where the joke was going to be if we started saying shit. So, But so y'all, let's see. I left Louisiana right at 2 years ago now, and y'all were just you almost had your house. Well, you was just starting on y'all's house then, right?
Right. So yeah, we finished the house April of last year. So we moved in a year ago to this month. Still, of course, just like with anything, it's always something going on around there to get done. It'll never be 100% complete.
No,
But yeah, so we
go ahead, bud.
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, the next plan is to hopefully get a decent sized shop built. We got pretty much the house completely done. I mean, outdoor kitchen that'll come later, and then the shop that's gonna come next. And but yeah, the house is finished, and yeah, since you left, you sold your house. You were 10 minutes from me. Now you're about 8 hours. That's okay.
Right. That's what yeah, like for y'all listening, I know all these things because we talk probably every day, if not we text every day, if not on the phone every other day for a few minutes in between our work schedules, going over hunting plans and everything, and or calling. He fishes a lot of the areas I used to fish down south, so he'll call and get some pointers. Hey, what do you think about this? What are they doing in this area? So I'm just wanting to make sure that y'all have a grasp of who he is and everything. It's not like I don't know all these things. I just want to make sure that everybody else knows what we got going on. That way, when we do go to saying stuff, if it is something, the viewers, the listeners, like, what the hell are they talking about? Because we have inside, So with that, like you said, like getting everything finished, it's never a done job. Like I'm so far behind on everything here on the place, but I do have deer coming in the camera, so I guess that's a good thing.
Yep.
Then,
especially this time of the year.
So, and actually, I don't know if I told you, I talked to one of my neighbors the other day, and probably 3 days ago, and we got talking about several deer that he had on camera and I had on camera, and the big drop tine 9 that I've sent you pictures of, you've seen them, is he residented pretty much the whole year on my place. He didn't show up on the neighbor's place a half a mile from me until 2 days after season. It was after dark, so that's a good thing for me. It looks like he's going to be killable next year.
Do you think he showed up because somebody pushed him away from somewhere else, or because you weren't exactly putting a ton of pressure on him in that area?
No, I didn't put any pressure, and I also saddle hunt, so I never was in the same spot, and so I think that helped a lot because I didn't hunt set stands, and everybody around me has set stands they hunt. So you think he was more of a camera shot buck, or do you think he was? I had to move. I kept getting some weird pictures. Remember me sending you those, and it was like you had to zoom in, and it was like you could tell something was back there, but you couldn't really tell what he was. Remember, I moved the camera and started getting good pictures of him. Yeah, okay, I ended up having to have like that. I left that camera in that place and put another camera off on the back side, and he would avoid the front camera, and he didn't realize the back camera was back there because I actually climbed up in a tree and put it on an angle. It was, and so I did some like sleuthing there to get him. He was smart. He was probably a 4.5-year-old deer last year. We should have a few shooter bucks this year on the place, which brings us into, it opens October the 1st, but obviously I won't be hunting up here October the 1st because we have a game plan of, it's about 6 of us probably supposed to be meeting in North Louisiana to do a little bow hunting.
Yeah, that's the plan. Opening season is October 1st here in Louisiana. It's not every area, but in the particular areas I target. But yeah, I'm very excited. This will be my first experience in the public land game, and I feel like it's a better opportunity to have a good experience. For your first time, not really knowing 100% what how it goes out there, because private land is just a different animal. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. You've never hunted public, have you?
Never.
All right.
No. Not for deer.
Yeah.
Birds, yes. But.
Yeah, and it's like I grew up. We were in some hunting clubs, but I always hunted public. My boys have been on a crap ton of public with me and scout and everything. We're actually probably. I was talking to you about Nebraska. Middle of the week when we were talking. She was there Wednesday night, and I think I'm gonna try to in like 4 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. take the boys and go up to that one of the WMAs in Nebraska I was telling you about, because it's like a 6-hour ride on a Friday, and spend at least Friday night, scout all day Saturday, and come back either Saturday night or Sunday morning, just to go take them on a camping trip up in Nebraska and see what it's about. Because the main reason I want to do that is because when I get up to the areas I'm wanting to look at, it depends on what the fields are planted in, determines if I buy a tag this year. I don't know if I went over that with you. They rotate their crops, and the people, a lot of guys that hunt up there, they prefer, if you're going to hunt early, one crop in September, bow season, they prefer one crop over the other. And then if they're going to rifle hunt, they prefer obviously the other crop because of how it is.
Yeah.
I don't really.
I know in Kansas, I was going to say, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I know in Kansas, I've been there once. I wasn't there for deer. We got some pheasants, but I know around November it's crazy. I don't know if they do the corn late in the year, like compared to the other plots, because a lot of farmers, to keep their land up, they do winter wheat fields when it's real cold. But the corn, after they harvest it, they still have corn on the ground. Like,
no, it's everywhere.
It's crazy. You would never realize if you're sitting in the truck at the road scouting and just kind of glassing for deer, but if you go walk the fields and put your feet in it, you wouldn't realize. But there's still a lot of natural resources.
There's little pieces of kernels of corn everywhere out there.
Right, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
That's what they don't realize, and that's what I was getting at. Like if you're gonna rifle hunt, you want the corn planted, but and then like I said, so this year if it's planted one way, it'll determine if I even attempt to buy a tag. That's why I want to get up there before I think tags go on sale July 24th for non-residents. I want to get up there middle of May, early June, and look and see, because if it's not the crop I want, I'm not gonna buy the tag, because I want to go bow hunt it. So
I don't expect you to know this, but as far as the farming goes, like 101, do they change things on like the timing of the year and what they plant each year?
They rotate. Every year they rotate most of them rotate between corn and soybean every year.
Yeah, that makes sense because your soil pH and the lime. And so what about do they plant in certain fields one year and then give that field a rest, or do you know
what they'll do? Usually, if they plant the corn in the field in corn this year, they'll plant it in soybean next year,
and then flip it again. Okay.
And is from all the research I've done and talking to some other guys and listening to some of the other podcasts I listen to, like there's a couple I listen to. One's Hunt R. That's pretty good about it. It's HUNTR, Hunter, or something like that. Hunt R. I don't really know how they pronounce it. Then I like another one. It's the Oklahoma Outdoors podcast. Then one of the original podcasts I started listening to was just straight up Deer Hunter, and he's talked to guys all over, but like he doesn't travel as much. Like his stuff, he's talked to guys that go and hunt, but like the Hunt R podcast guys and Oklahoma Outdoors podcast, they both travel. Like they'll all travel to hunt, and they've hunted Nebraska. So I've listened to a bunch of their stuff, and I actually, need to reach out to those guys and like pick their brain, because like especially the Hunt or podcast guys, you and I, what I was discussing with you the other day about picking up some I want to pick up some lease ground in other states, just to hit randomly. Those guys have like 6 different states. Most of them are over the counter. Like I think Kansas is their only one that's not over the counter, and they have leases in like 6 states where they can go hunt these different places.
That's awesome.
And and they'll look at it and be like, say, I don't think they all drew for, like last year or the year before, they all didn't. They did as a group and they didn't draw for Kansas, so they didn't even hunt their lease. They skipped Kansas completely and kept their lease because they got some they found that's the year they found some one side was like 82 inches or something on some sheds they found. And, so it's like they've got it's like that's how they'll hunt, but they talk about the rotating crops and everything and what's beneficial, and it's like then like I said, I'm gonna ride up and look at it and see what's around it, where I can see if I can talk to some people and everything, and See what and
Well,
then
and convenience too. I mean, see what if there's a town nearby. I mean,
Yep.
you just never know
you never know
what you
'cause-
might need for that week or 10 days you're there.
Yeah, like it's like where I live here in Oklahoma. Like, the closest hotel to my house is probably there's one hotel about 10 minutes away, and the rest of them are like 30 minutes. So it's like,
Well,
and it's like I'm not trying to stay in a hotel or anything, but it's like I also need to know where town's at if I need anything and stuff like that. So
you can always, I mean, and if everything's going great, in a perfect world, you go to Nebraska for 10 days, and in the first 2 days, you shoot your doe and your buck, and there's a way in the perfect world where you can hop over to, say, Illinois, get an over-the-counter tag and an Airbnb.
Well, it won't be open. It won't be open at that time because it's the first day of September when it opens.
Gotcha.
So I'll actually hunt from like September the 1st to like 5th or 6th, 5 or 6 days.
Is there a surrounding state though around Nebraska that has a similar archery that week or within a week of that time?
Missouri over the counter like a week and a half later or something like that.
I feel like we need to develop a chart.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If we had a chart, it would make it so much easier.
I've got a chart that I work on, like, and it's like, well, I sent you that list of all the apps I use for the license and everything.
Maybe I need to get my wife. My wife's in IT. I could get her to develop us a spreadsheet where you could just, put certain things. You have your whole spreadsheet where you just enter a number and it just populates a calculation for you.
Yeah, flow chart.
Yeah.
But and that gets us back to like, well, if I I like what I see and I'm set up where I can make that hunt, then that brings us when I get back from it, I'll bring us to the October hunt, and because I actually even when I lived in Louisiana, they like Brant was saying earlier, there's places that open different down there. But there's a place that opens like around the 15th every year. It's like the second, third weekend of September every year it opens for bow season.
Yes, you're right.
And
archery, that's over here. Actually, in the direction I'm going, I don't want to say it's Lake Charles, but just north of there, around maybe Leesville to Ritter area. Theirs is pretty early like that for archery.
Yeah, it is. I've hunted. I grew up hunting over there.
And the latest I can find is on DMAP. We used to hunt until Valentine's Day. Now it's on DMAP.
Yep, pretty much, and that's what I've hunted over there like that and everything, and we'll the goal is for us. Like I said, that's why I'm interested in making this September hunt in Nebraska or Kansas if I end up there. Missouri, because I've always hunted September. So, and so I'll make my September hunt in one of those states. Then we'll come back. In our October hunt will kick off, and I've hunted the area that we're going to. I've brought in the past. Last time I hunted it was January, May, 2 years ago. I spent the last 9 days of season up there and could have killed several does, but I ended up killing a couple hogs and everything. Like it was just I spent 9 days up there by myself. It was amazing. Nobody else was on the place.
It's amazing, but you want some hunting buddies with you sometimes.
Sometimes.
Maybe for a day.
But I'm talking about like it was nobody else on the place. So I was able to like not worry about bothering other hunters. I scouted and looked. I probably dropped 50 to 75 points on my
I remember you sending me that picture of that hog you had on the tailgate of your truck. How'd you even get that thing loaded?
Ratchet straps hooked to the corner of the bed. Yeah, it was hell. Out there by yourself.
It took you a little engineering.
Yeah.
But you used to be a pavement superintendent. You dealt with engineers. You weren't the engineer, but
yeah,
that day you were.
I've dealt with it, and that's actually, I'm no longer doing paving. I'm just a project manager, superintendent now.
Since we're talking about Midwest, I don't expect you to tell me specifically Oklahoma, but where in Oklahoma. But have you put any cameras and tried any luck, like looking at some public land up there since you moved up there? I mean, you've been two seasons.
Yeah. I've got some in a couple different places I've checked out, and I'm real impressed with what I've seen on camera up here. And
are you seeing more? Are you seeing all right, I'm gonna see if I can word this right. Are you seeing a better quality and more quantity of that higher quality deer, like buck size, or is it?
Yeah, and what I've noticed is like I've literally on the public land up here put camera. A couple of the places I put super simple, easy access that if you're looking at it, you don't even have to know anything about hunting, and that's where you're going to go to hunt. So I put it there, a couple there, just to see if it had a lot of people in there to see how, I wanted to check and see how many people were actually on the hunting land, on the public land.
Yeah.
And by doing so, it was crazy because I only ended up with like 2 or 3 people on camera from a month before season to a month after. And that was
you're talking about half a year, 5 months. I mean,
yeah,
5 months.
That was from like September to like late February, and I put it in super simple places where as Phil Robinson would say, a yuppie could find it. Like it was just so simple, and I'm like, that I was more so wanting to know how much traffic was on this public land, not so much as the deer traffic, as much as I wanted to know the people traffic. Because I didn't want to hunt one that was like super hard to hunt, like because there were so many people. And like the first one we ever went to, myself and my 2 little boys, if you look it up in the deer pamphlet for Oklahoma, it tells you low density of numbers of deer, like not a good area to deer hunt.
Compared to the big ones. So
I guess because
really
the day we scouted, we saw 22 head of deer.
Dang. Just periodically, just
yeah,
driving around.
And that was out, feet on the ground, walking around. We jumped 22 head of deer, and they was in groups of 5 and 6 at a time. It was insane. So we because that's not something.
And they were all mature deer too, if I remember right.
Oh yeah, they were great deer. Big.
We ain't talking about yearlings, huh?
No, and that was what was crazy to me because like, we're in a low density area, and it was no issues about being a low density.
Do you know the biology behind that? Is it because it's not as heavily wooded as it is down here? Deer they have more, not more pressure, but they have to move more where you're at, as opposed to here. They can go lay up in a thicket 50 yards from where they're feeding at. Whereas where you're at, they have to move around a little bit more. It's not like kitchen's right next to bedroom.
Well, right. It depends on where you're at because, like, I live on the east side of the state, and it hunts. I'm not gonna say just like South Louisiana, but it hunts big woods in some of the areas. I got some hardwoods. I've got some hardwoods and everything. Like my property I own has 20 acres of what they call post oaks, and which they use to make fence posts and like furniture and stuff. And that's what I hunt here at my place. And it's surrounded by big woods, like, and everything. So I've got a little different than, it's hilly, so it would be what they consider hill country forestry wood hunting, when you get it all technical about it. But it's just simple hunting. Then it's like you go to like I said, that first ever wildlife management myself and the boys set foot on, it would remind you of what you see out in like Kansas and Nebraska.
Right.
A bush, like grass everywhere and like a small tree line or something like that. And I literally, I'll send you I'll send you that one when we're off of here and like show you exactly where I put the camera. Like I could probably send you the map of the place and you'd be like, oh, that's a good spot, but that's where everybody would go. And it was just grassland, prairie grass, like, like knee high to like waist high grass on each side of this place. And it was an old fence row that pretty much of trees that was say 20 foot wide of trees that come up to the gravel road, like stopped about 200 yards shy of the gravel road where you'd park at. But it was long, say a half mile, 3/4 of a mile long, and went back opened up into some bigger woods, right?
Right.
They would walk out of those big. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
They would walk that line from the big woods down that fence line and everything. And where I screwed up is I went to North Louisiana opening weekend deer season that year because I had to meet my dad and get a bunch of my stuff because that's the first year I moved up here. We hadn't been living here for like a month and a half, and I still had stuff down there I had to go pick up. So I had to meet with him opening weekend of deer season, and because we actually made a hunt. While we were down there, and while I was down there, I had the cell links that are like you can turn any camera into a cell camera. I had those
Yeah.
on like some cheap Tasco Walmart cameras because I had a total of like $55 in the two. And that way, if I threw them on public land, I didn't lose out if somebody decided they wanted them more than I needed them. And they were constantly sending me deer. And it's like, I've got a picture of one of the deer if I can find it. And last year in October, not October 23, but October 22 is when I got the pictures, first week of October. And probably 2-3 weeks after that, I sent a couple of them over to John Eberhart while we were doing our podcast during it. And he's like, dude, that's like a 160 class public land deer. What the heck, man? And what was crazy is like these deer, what I've noticed about Oklahoma deer, especially on public land, the first week of October, they're really killable. But a lot of guys don't public hunt. If they're going to public land hunt here, they rifle hunt. And
Gotcha.
You know,
well,
so
it's probably because your locals have connections on private land. You know, they know the farmers, they got friends, and a lot of that you know, in that area, them guys live to work. You know, I mean, they farm and they tired. They ain't want to sit in the woods, much less with a bow.
Yeah.
You know.
And they can bait on their own property and everything. So why would they go sit in public? You know, and
correct.
You know,
they got a lot of family land.
Yeah.
I mean, family land there.
And,
you know, family land there is you're talking hundreds of thousands of acres. Versus here, you know, my family might own 10 acres.
I was just gonna say,
you know, and
I have 80 acres. If I ate down there where we grew up at, having 80 acres is a lot. Up here, it's nothing.
You're talking about $1 million in land here.
Yeah, you know, and I have 80 acres here that I live on and have my house and everything, but it's still not a big place compared to, you know, everything around me.
Compared to George Strait's property next to you, his ranch.
Well, it's like I live next door to an old high fence game ranch, and like it kind of got tore down into the back fence or something due to weather in 2012. I don't really know the whole story. It got tore down, so the deer escaped. And, but that's why we have the monster deer we have around here. Like, he had breeder does and bucks in there, and now we have them. Apparently, this is the folklore. So, like, you know, if somebody important's listening and this is illegal, then I don't know what it is. It's just folklore. But that the deer got out apparently in a ice storm, and they didn't get them all back. I don't really know. I just know that we have some monsters around here, and
you're still working in your Baton Rouge at that time, so I mean, there's really no way to tell.
Yeah. You know, 2012, I was actually 2012. I was about 3 years into the invention of Cajun blend at that point with DFO and the concept. I'd been using it, and I think that year is the year I kind of brought it out to most people. And our buddy
12 years
Chuck,
ago, you didn't have Trapper either. I mean, you didn't have kids.
Our buddy Chuck, that's actually introduced us, is he's one of the first people outside of like a handful of family and like a couple friends growing up that actually used it. And I really didn't know him that well then. He was griping about didn't have any deer on camera, and I'm like, here, try this. And I literally told the dude, this is how we do it. We put it on the ground. This is what we do, da-da-da. He proceeded to take 10 pounds of it, mix it in like with 50 to 100 pounds of corn in his feeder, stir it in with a boat paddle, and let it sling it out of the corn slinging feeder. And it's the most pictures he's ever had, ever. Then he had those 3 massive bucks on camera, and I was like, and it's like he had two solid 8 points and it was one. I remember a 6 point he had was it was a 6 point, but it was like wide and it was big. Yeah,
like,
he had no
genetically a 6 point.
It was but he had no, it was a 6 point with no brow tines, and the 2 8 points had small brow tines. And
right. So, but the one he ended up getting, the brow tines almost touched him.
Yeah. And that's a story we'll try and get him involved in on telling how we ended up getting that deer. I don't want to dive off into that right now. Try and steer us back to, you know, like we're October will be of October this year. You know, our goal is to meet down there in North Louisiana and see if we can, like I said, I got an idea. We plan on getting there, the 30th?
We're trying to get there and make some new deer hunting videos. I mean, some new deer hunting memories.
Right. And we're gonna do, like I said, we plan on doing some filming and just.
Well, being in our home state, you know, it is. I mean, it's always nice to get a good deer, but a lot of the times, whenever you walk in the woods, sometimes it's not about killing an animal. You know, I mean,
No,
that's kind of how my dad raised me.
it goes to that text I sent you yesterday too about, like Steve Ranella said on Meat Eater, don't pass up a deer on the first day that you'd be more than happy to take the last day.
Right.
And you know, it's like the area we're going.
Well, in our home state, we got multiple tags too.
Yeah, the area we're going
But,
has got some pretty good deer in it. I've taken six or eight people with me, and they've all had the opportunity to shoot deer. They, you know, my dad has shot at deer up there. He missed. The guy that used to hunt with us, he's killed 2 or 3 up there. A doe, a 5-point, and a 7-point. One of our other buddies.
It'll be nice. It's smart of us to, you know, go ahead and do the first real good hunting trip that we're going to try and do in the home state between Oklahoma and Louisiana. You know, you're more comfortable being in a state that you're so familiar with. I mean, Mississippi's about the same as Louisiana to me. Alabama running close to, you know, second with that comment. But, you know, as far as like the layout and knowing what to look for and how to hunt and knowing the deer, I mean, it's going to be hot regardless, and we'll be fighting mosquitoes. But it'll be nice to be able to work out all the kinks, you know.
Right.
We're not in the middle of Midwest stressed out because we, you know, got our draw and got our tags in whatever state we're in, and, you know,
Exactly.
be stressed out.
Exactly, and that's what, like, I grew up, like I said, we both grew up hunting South Louisiana. So my first year up here, I hit the public land a little bit. I didn't really get to hunt, but I scouted 3 or 4 of them, put some cameras on a couple, and I'm like, but I had been, you remember what, beginning of 2022, I drove out to Mangum, Oklahoma, which is way southwest Oklahoma, over by Alto Air Force Base. You remember when I drove out there, there's like deadheaded from my house in South Louisiana all the way over there to look at some hunting property?
Yeah, I remember.
You called me when I was in like Fort Worth, Dallas, like, what you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to look at some hunting property.
Yeah, remember you jumped up 5 does. I remember that.
Yeah, but it was, we were on the phone, I think, when I got there and was telling you about it. And it was like, but I had never been in what you'd call Midwest hunting at that point. So that was the first eye-opener to wait. They're in that little drainage ditch doing that. What the hell? And so I got to looking at it and study it when I moved up here. That's how I hit the public land and was able to get some massive deer on camera, and would have had shots at those deer if I'd have took time to go hunt them. I literally, my first deer season up here, I made 1 public land hunt, and then didn't make any more because it was just so much going on with being fresh to living here, and we were in a rental, and it was just trying to find a place. It was just so many things. Then this year,
you were in a transition.
Yeah, I was in transition because I'd bought a house. Then we removed it. We got moved into it like July 31st was our first day. Like my wife, we closed March 31st. Our first day in it was July 1st, and then a month later, hey, you know, you got to start working in West Oklahoma, so 350 miles one way. So I literally, like, went out, looked around, took my saddle, climbed a tree, and hunted my place based off of a funnel, and threw some feed, some Cajun. Well, it's not our original Cajun blend. It's another blend that I'm working with, and I threw that out, put it to there, and to kind of get me a stopping point where I knew how far they were, you know. And I didn't even get to bow hunt. Then I took my little boys the first like 3 times, and we couldn't really get set up because we wasn't set up for it, and we got busted. Then the deer didn't cooperate. Then it was just so. This year I should have their box stand built hopefully in the next few weeks. It's kind of like it's 8 by 12, so it's pretty good size. But
I will say, with my experience with Cajun blend, you know, we had I had those 2 does back when I was still hunting in Central. That was 10 years ago.
That's the first time you ever tried it.
Yeah, I tried it. You know, I had corn going, and I stopped the corn, and I put it out, and the does ate it so bad that once they ate it, they ate the dirt that was under it too.
Yeah.
It made a hole in the ground.
Dude, remind me, and I'll get my dad to send it to me, but definitely when we're all together in October, he's got a picture of a deer that her head is all the way in the ground where they done ate a hole in it, eating the Cajun blend. It's so far that it's like her ears are sticking out of the ground.
So with with Delta Flash, I have a question, but you don't have to get into specifics. But so once you can try to finally get away from that 350 mile drive to work, are you planning on starting some new stuff with Delta Flash? Like, you got some new products you're thinking about? I mean, I know you've got pencil to paper and stuff, and you've got a lot of ideas.
I've got my vision board here to the left, and it's got probably 20, 25 things on it. And it's like, what a lot of people don't know. You didn't know until a few weeks ago. You were talking about, if we, this style of feed and da-da-da-da, and I started laughing. I was like, I've already got that and tested it. It works. It's like...
Yeah, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah, and it's like,
Right.
And it's like, I've made and tested probably 15 styles of blend. And that's, you got the original Cajun blend, then you have a green blend, I have a corn blend, I have several variations of a sweet blend, and it's like,
you don't have to go into details. I just was wondering if you had that in your foreseeable future, hopefully.
Yeah, I've got and then get into the filming side of it, and we actually, I want to expand on the Prostaff. I've got some fillers out of what I want is like some guys in other states that that are hunting and filming, and we can get there. We can hook them up with stuff, and they hook us up with their filming stuff because they'll be under our banner, and we build a Prostaff that's like, we're not gonna have to hold their hand and always be we'll all come together for a Zoom call for a podcast or something like that, but a lot of times we won't ever be able to hunt together. So building a legit Prostaff is one of the next steps I want to do. And
the ideal though is a vision in my head would be that the blend would be in every state, and there'd be a deer taken a mile of blend in every state.
Any state that's legal to feed in.
Correct. You're right.
And word that because how people are. Any state that is legal to feed in would be great. And it's like, I laugh all the time because I hunt a lot of public land, but yet I sat down and invented and developed something for the private land hunter to be able to feed.
Well, with the baiting thing with hunting, as long as it's not hunting season, can you? For instance, say you're trying to grow your deer, to have bigger antlers, right?
No, because I'm going to interrupt you on that one, because most states that have CWD problems have decided that it's the reason they're having CWD problems is due to feeding, and because CWDs can saliva, so like bodily fluids,
Right.
I guess it would be like, and I'm gonna go way out here. I guess it's kind of like AIDS with people, bodily fluid swapping. It's like,
okay,
and
makes sense.
I don't think it's contractable through deer having sex, but it's contractable through saliva. But
so any form of you feeding a deer or promoting a deer to eat in a central location with other deer is kind of like a bad news thing if it has the CWD and stuff.
I call bullshit there, because if you're a proponent of hunting and doing and everything, and this goes back into part of the series I'd started, and I need to do some more, and you'll actually need to pop in there on some of those with me on the scrapes and mock scrapes and everything. Most scrapes have what they call a licking branch. Deer go there and they lick this branch and everything, right?
Right.
So you're a deer, you go lick this branch. I'm a deer, I come by, I fresh the scrape up, and it's a community scrape. Then I'm gonna lick the branch. Then Joe Bob's gonna come over here and do it, and Susie and Betty and all them. So everybody has licked this branch. So wouldn't CWD pass through the licking branch just as well as it would pass through the we're eating the feed off the ground or out of a bucket and we slobbered on it a little bit?
It don't matter the time of the year.
Nope. And it's like it's gonna pass the same way. So I think that we need to do. I think a lot more research needs to be put into it if you're going to go that route. But it's like, it's a. We could spend a lot of time on it, a lot of podcasts, and piss a lot of people off because, like, I've listened to there's a lot of guys that are in the know about it, and every one of them that are in the know about deer hunting and the process of how you contribute, how it's contracted, that's their biggest proponent. They're like, so we got to cut trees down now too? We gonna ban trees? Can't have lick? And it's like, okay, you got companies out there selling what they're calling licking ropes, right? For scrapes.
Yeah.
It's a cotton rope tied to a tree with some gland on it. So you're promoting that deer to lick that rope. So that's the same thing as feeding. It's saliva. And I'm not trying to piss anybody off that's listening to it, or like, I'm no scientist on that part of it. I've just listened to a lot of people talk that know what they're talking about, and it makes me say, they might be onto something. And at the same time, yes, I have, like you're talking about other stuff. The
big problem with the whole thing, though, with it is, and it's just like anything else, it comes down to money.
Exactly.
They don't have the guns and they don't have the funds to, put into it to really do some science and evidence-based practice, just like we do in the healthcare field, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have the numbers. They don't have the scientists. They don't have all these biologists out there, sadly.
Well, it's not just that. I can go out there way on that fucking limb because after everything with COVID, the federal government put out that deer had COVID. So they were trying to limit people from hunting then. And if you look at what's crazy, this is what is just insane to me. 2020, when they shut everything down, look at the numbers across the nation of how many hunting licenses were bought and what was done and da-da-da. Fucking sky high everywhere, where biggest, best, most people out there. Hot damn, the hunting world's coming back. We're going to, the federal government sees this, and next thing you know, deer have COVID, so now we're back to record low numbers of hunters.
Wow.
Hey, for diehard hunters like us, and guys that hunt public land, we're like, hey, not bad. Because for a couple years there, it was balls to wall people everywhere you went. Like, they've got places I hunted down south that we would go and spend opening weekend of bow season, when it started in September, 18 and 19. Yeah. And I'm talking, I'll name the wildlife management. It was West Bay, which is like 58,000 acres.
Gotcha.
We would go there September when it opened for bow season, like third weekend or whatever. It would be us and maybe one other person in one campground. Then the other campground might have one other group, of 2 or 3 people. So it might be like, and you'd have some locals drive to hunt, but I'm talking about going over there and hunting for a couple days on a weekend.
Well, if you're talking about that, we might as well mention the fact that, I'm talking about you and your kids, or mine and my kids, but as a whole, generally speaking, it is sad whenever you look and see at these hunting camps, you don't see a father and a son anymore. You see two older gentlemen spending time together in the woods.
Right. And, and it's like,
the kids are inside.
Dude, my kids and, like, my dad, we were talking about yesterday when I was driving in, and, my kids have spent more time in the woods than a lot of adults. And it's like, I pick at my dad because, like, like I was talking about going hunting as a group, and I'm like, and it's him, and a lot of times his brother and his cousin, then, his little brother-in-law. My grandparents raised a little girl that's like, she's 10 years younger than me, but she was raised like, she's just family. So it's legal there. I guess she was adopted, so legally it'd be my dad's brother-in-law, but that's a whole nother story. It's like a little cousin. You know how Louisiana families are. We just, take everybody in. But it's like my dad, my uncle, my dad's cousin Lenny, and my Uncle Billy, that's his brother. Then his little brother-in-law cousin Brandon. Then they have another guy that would hunt with them. I told my dad, I was like, you could take those 5 and you could hand pick in any combination out of Ty, Brant, Hunter, and Trapper, which Hunter and Trapper's my boys for everybody that doesn't know. Brant and Ty's, this is Brant. Ty's going to have to end up hopping on here with us one day too. But it's like, I was like, you can hand pick 2 of those with myself against your 5. Pick, and we go spend a week, and all we have is fishing poles and guns, and it's deer and hunting season. Let's go do it. He's like, hell no. The only person I got that's any good, he's like, Dusty's got a horseshoe up his ass. Brandon can fish. Brandon's a decent fisherman, but he's never killed a deer. He said, I'm going to have to work my ass off. but it's like,
Yep.
and, you know, we laugh, and it was like, but that's what we were getting at. It's like, and he's like, but it's because he's like, and he doesn't know you and Ty that well, but he's like, I'll take my chances with Ty and Brant over Trapper and Hunter. He said, because I know how much time they've spent on public land and in the woods, and they know how to scout. He's like, and I'm chuckling because he's like, I would rather take my chance against two grown-ass men than a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old in the group. He said, because I know how much fishing they do. I know how much hunting they do. He's like, you know, he's like, they help you clean deer and everything else. He's like, kids aren't, he's like, you were raised like that. He said, those other boys were raised like that. He said, but the younger kids aren't. You know, they're not even in the woods anymore. They're not anywhere. And it's like, yeah. So, you know, that's
Right.
and we can do a whole podcast on that. And that's what, well, I've been telling you to get your spare room finished so we can sit down and do stuff like this, because it's like, I can sit here and talk on a podcast by myself and it's 15, 20 minutes of boom, 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 boom. But it's like when you can have a conversation with somebody and like, it makes a total difference, because like, it's hard to listen to one person and you're not getting that other side. And that's the thing, you know, and it's like, you're hitting the nail on the head. Like, we're not preparing the next generation. Then when we started having a lot of people go into the woods, we decided that deer had COVID, which baffles me. But that's going all the way back into the whole thing of like, you know, like I was talking about the licking branches, you know, like
Right.
we can put a whole hour together on either of those subjects, if not more. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, that's the thing why I want to start planning these trips that we do. And like when we was talking about growing DFO as a brand, when we bring in more pro staff guys that are doing, you know, every couple years or whatever, because you have different places to do, like Saddle Palooza, and different things. So I'm using that because I'm actually looking at a podcast that's playing. Well, it's actually one of my podcasts from YouTube that was sitting here that I recorded with Robert Woods from Wood Saddles. You remember a couple years ago?
Yeah.
He would put a saddle event on in Florida every year because he had saddles. And it would have different manufacturers there and everything, but it was just a get-together, like a weekend get-together, and nothing but guys in the outdoors. Some were part of his pro staff, some were part of other guys. It was just a thing, you know? And it's like, I'm like, you know, I want to develop where, like, maybe every couple of years as a DFO group, you know, whoever can make it, we meet up. We pick a central location, obviously not Kansas because you got to draw tags there, or not Iowa because you got to draw tags there, but Missouri, be a good one. Ohio, Illinois,
Missouri,
just depends.
Kentucky.
Yeah, somewhere where you can buy over-the-counter tags, and like the pro staff gets together, 5, 10, 12, how many ever of us it is, how many ever can go, and we meet up and spend 3 days to a week hunting as a group, and you know, just the camaraderie of it. So, but yeah, I'm excited about. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, having that kind of situation happen, I mean, the guys that come in, they know most of us coming from South Louisiana, there's going to be plenty to eat.
Exactly. And seeing as I was talking about hunting and the kids, I doubt Trapper and Hunter make the October hunt with us this year due to they'll be 12 and 9, or yeah,
Well,
Hunter will be 10,
they have
12
a thing
and 10.
called school as well.
Yeah, they'll be okay. Don't even get me started on the school system here. They'll be 12 and 10, but I'm not ready to throw them on a bow hunting only trip. You know, like.
Nah, I understand.
And now the following year, Hunter will be 11. I'm pretty sure, and Trapper will be 13. Don't know if Trapper will hunt. He just says something. He hasn't really decided if he's into it. He's a hell of a fisherman, but he's not much into hunting right now. Hunter, if Hunter can, I need to take Hunter's bow to the shop, have it adjusted for him and everything. And if he can get where he can shoot it at like 29 pounds by this October, because he has his own saddle, he knows how to climb. If he can shoot his bow at the legal weight by this October, I don't know if I can make him stay at home. Like, he will be. Like,
Thing about them two is whenever they turn teenagers and they're cute, they're gonna be chasing whitetail, just not in the woods.
I don't know. Hunter probably like, nah, I gotta be single during deer season.
Yeah.
You know, like those
Hunter-
guys that break up or with their girlfriends at Christmas or Valentine's Day. Nah, Hunter's gonna be like, look, I'm single from September the 1st to like February the 28th.
And then in April, whenever it's turkeys.
Right? But so yeah, But yeah, the trip that we got planned for that, I think it'll be a great time because, like we said, cooking. I think we you're bringing your 5-gallon pot, or is yours a 10?
I have a 10-gallon, but I'm gonna clean up a 2.5-gallon cast iron.
Yeah.
And I'll just have it so you only have to bring one big. If you bring one big pot, I'll have my small pot to where you can cook. We're supposed to be getting those burners. You still have some stuff left on down here in your storage. So.
Yeah, I've got my 5.5 I could bring because I don't think I need my 10. That's a lot.
No, 5.5 will be plenty for that many people. I mean, we could cook 4 pound of rice, jambalaya.
Well, I figure like if we get there that Monday around, I think we're all planning on leaving our respective places by like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, which will put everybody getting there by like 2 or 3. Set up camp. It'll take it's not gonna take long because we're gonna be tent camping, and my setup because it's one of those 10 by 10 pavilion things you get under, but my tent actually connects to it, and it's set up and it has room for like 3 cots in it. But my dad's like, because they're supposed to be going, he's like, well, where are you staying? I said, I got my tent, myself, Brant, and Ty stay in it. And he's like, well, how much room you got? I said, myself, Brant, and Ty. I was like, our gear will probably be in the 10 by 10, and our cots will be in the tent. That's about all the room that's in it. He's like, well, I guess I'll have to bring my tent. I'm like, well, I guess so.
He realizes that Ty he played linebacker in college.
Ty's Billy Bob off of Varsity Blues. He's a full grown man child.
But he's just muscle.
Yeah, full grown man child over here. So, but yeah, and then it's like, but I figure we would that evening after we set everything up and we go scout, pre-hang and everything. If we got some places we want to pre-hang, we'll come back. It's gonna be a late dinner that night, or we might just throw I've got that 17-inch Blackstone. We might throw it on the tailgate and
marinate some pork steaks or
some steaks or something. Marinate them and grill some steaks or something that night. Then go from there. The next day, probably. I know my dad. He'll throw down on a cook because that's just how he is when he goes off. I laugh because we talk about hunting, and one of the guys that I was talking about, their friend Dusty, when he started hunting with us all, he was like, y'all don't eat sandwiches when you're hunting? Dad's like, why the hell would I eat a sandwich when I'm hunting? And he's like, well, what are y'all going to eat? Dad, we'll eat something, we'll, in the middle of the day, we'll get back, and a lot of times we'll cook something then, but it's that night, we're cooking a big jambalaya, smothered potatoes, we've cooked crawfish etouffee and fried fish and everything, and did that during hunting season out in the woods.
Right, so some white beans.
Yeah, but that guy's like, man, y'all, I ain't ever ate this good going hunting, camping in a tent and everything. It's like, Dad's like, look, if I'm gonna be uncomfortable, I damn for sure ain't gonna be hungry.
I mean, I can always bring a box of MREs too.
Oh, dude, if you doctor an MRE up right, it tastes amazing. They're etouffee, they're fettuccine ones and everything.
MREs.
Huh?
MREs will hold me over for days, and hopefully I'm about 50 pounds lighter by that point, too.
50 pounds lighter, that'll put you down here, what about what I weigh?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I need to drop...
Nah, I probably won't lose it that quick, but at least if I can drop some before I could try and climb up on, publicly. And that was another thing I want to talk about. I respect those guys like you and Ty that do the saddle and everything. Maybe one day I'll work up to doing it. Me and Ty were actually talking about it the other day when we were fishing. But for now, me and the old summit climber, it's never done me any wrong. And about 75% of the deer I've killed with my bow have been out of that stand. So,
well, it's I've got some extra sticks and a couple lock-ons too. So if you want to,
and that's it. Yeah, we can hook up a couple different spots. And even if my brother-in-law was talking about coming.
Yeah.
Later in the week. So if he comes in on Wednesday or Thursday, me and you can set him up a spot where he can climb up and hunt, with his safety vest and everything. He can climb up and hunt the saddle. That's easy. That lock on where they're crossing and everything. And even if he says, "Oh, they were 100 yards that way," well, the next morning we can set him up in a lock on or something.
You want me to tell you why the main reason I switched to saddle hunting?
Why?
I never would wear a climbing harness, and I have almost fallen numerous times. I literally had a ladder. I fell out of a ladder stand when I was a kid, about 12, 15 feet. Landed in a mud hole, luckily. I had a climber kick to the side one time, and when I went to fall, I caught, and I was literally hanging between the top and bottom. Got myself pulled back into it. 2019, 2020, Gary and I was hunting together, and my rope where I tied my climber together was a little too long, because I'm short-legged, and it slipped, and I didn't realize the rope was that long. So when I reached to get it, I couldn't get it. So my bright ass thought I would just drop down to it, then reach up with my hands and grab my top, right?
Right.
When I dropped, that son of a bitch was like hitting a spring. It shot me out of the, and I was about 7, 8 feet up still. It shot me out of it backwards into a briar patch.
Yikes.
I'm laying there. Gary sees me because it's like 11 o'clock, in the morning. Like we were coming out from our morning hunt. We had hunted till 10 or 11. He's right there by me. Sees me fly out backwards. I'm laying there. He's like, "You okay? You okay?" And I'm like, and he's like, I couldn't breathe. It knocked the wind out of me. And he comes around there. He's freaking out. And I'm like, I get up. That was 20. That was 2020. 2021. I started looking into them, and I hunted 2021, but I still didn't wear a safety harness, and I hunted some lock-ons, and
I got the hunter safety system.
Yeah.
Set up. It is a vest, but it goes under my jacket, like my scentlock jacket.
Yeah.
And real comfortable. The strap that you tie it to the tree off with, it sticks out the top of my jacket. So I actually wear it on the way in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I can actually clip my bow rope. I have a Summit, one of those retractable bow ropes.
Yeah.
They actually give it to you with your climber, which is really nice. But I clip it to my safety harness, and I can actually climb up, 20 feet, and then that little harness is already connected to me in my bow, and I just shimmy it up. And, if I'm going to hunt the same tree 2 mornings in a row, it is nice to, throw up a little bow hook on the side of the tree. It's nice. I mean, it works for me, and like I tell everybody, whatever's more comfortable for you. If you're comfortable hunting a ladder stand, then go for it, I mean.
Like, I've hunted climbers, lock-ons, ladder stands. I've got one of my original podcasts. I talked about this stand we hunted in Mississippi. I hunted with a guy up there, and I look back on it now, and I was a kid, say 14 at the oldest, and I kind of wonder why the hell my dad even let me go on this trip and go with this other guy, because he was a couple years older than me. I got this good place we could go hunt. It was this big oak tree out in the middle of a clear cut, right? You could see 500 yards around you. It was wonderful. It was redneck engineering. It was in Mississippi. They nailed boards to the tree, and you climb up that. Then it went, say, 20, 30 foot up the side of the street. Then it went out into the limbs that forked out. So it was kind of like sitting in the seats were some 2x6s nailed to the limbs 40 foot in the air.
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
So,
the memories in that state have probably been awesome.
So, but right, I'm sitting there, and Tony is the guy I was hunting with, and about prime time, 20, 30 minutes before dark, he looks at me. He said, "You know what? I hate to ruin our hunt, but don't you think we ought to get out of here while we can see?" I said, I was ready to get out of here the moment we got in it.
30 years ago from that moment, there's probably a man with blue jeans and a Fredbear hat and a flannel shirt on.
Yeah.
And he probably shot one of the biggest bucks ever in that area.
Yeah. We laugh about it, but it's but yeah, the reason I switched to a saddle is because versatility for where some of the places I'll go and hunt, and you'll see that when I take you to where I'm going. I've literally.
I think you just miss being a kid.
I do. It's
kind of swinging when you was little.
My ADHD kicks in when I'm in mine, and I got to pay attention because I'll be swinging back and forth, rocking out to some Taylor Swift
Steve
or something.
Carroll in The Office. Well, JR, yeah, I'm I have to let you go. I'm almost finished up.
Yeah, I was about to say we need to
Get to where I'm
wind
going.
this one down.
But yeah, hopefully we can do it again here soon.
Yeah, it
Get
should
some more
be.
time.
You know, once you get caught up on your honey-do list and get your spare room fixed where we can record there some, then it's like,
Yeah, hopefully we can shoot some webcam. We can have some video and stuff out there.
yeah,
We got a couple things that I want to talk to you and show you and stuff. Back home, a couple small business owners that I'm good friends with or related to. They got fishing baits. I got a friend that is doing almonds and stuff. Actually, of all things, I need to get him to ship you some. He's got all kinds of different flavors, and I know you like heat. So
you want your friend to ship me his nuts?
yep, that's it.
Fair enough.
Them nuts.
Ship them nuts.
But anyway,
All
right, man. Well,
right.
Yep, I'll buzz you back later on, and we'll keep game planning for October.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
We locked in our priority points for Kansas for this year. So.
Yeah, we locked in priority for there, and I also locked in points for Oklahoma antelope, deer, and elk myself. Since I live here, I can get those. So I just went in and put on for preference points because I'm not really sure when I want to do it. So I'm just going to make sure I grow the points so that when I get ready to do it, I should be able to draw. But
absolutely.
with that, we'll wind this one down. So that was today's podcast with Brant David, one of the OG DFO guys, and that's where our stopping point's been hit. So later, Brant, and we'll talk to you later here at Delta Lodge Outdoors.
Yes, sir.